Welcome everyone to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here, because we are skipping the boring intros today and dropping, literally, straight into a high-stakes, fast-paced cookie negotiation. Yes, I said cookies, but pay really close attention to the specific language these two use here. Because right after we listen to this deal go down, we're going to unpack the fascinating, honestly borderline bizarre memory techniques that will help you lock these exact business idioms into your brain forever. You ready? Let's step into the boardroom. All right, so Carol kicks off the negotiation confidently, setting her starting price. She says, "Bob, I've had a chance to crunch some numbers, and I think I can pay you $2 a cookie." But Bob, he isn't having it. He immediately gets defensive, shooting back, $2 a cookie? That's out of the question. We'd lose money.
Now, instead of arguing, Carol gracefully pivots the conversation, just asking, "Well, what did you have in mind?"
Bob reveals his target price, stating simply, "We were hoping for $3. That's a bit steep, but offers a compromise to keep things moving. That's a bit steep. Let me see if I can sweeten the deal. I'll pay $2.50 if you deliver them." Bob senses a deal is close and counters with a firm ultimatum. Make it $2.75 and you've got a deal. With a show of reluctant acceptance, Carol finally caves. "Okay, you've twisted my arm. $2.75 it is." With the price locked in, Bob immediately pivots to the logistics. "Great. When do you want the first shipment?" Carol is clearly eager to get things moving, replying, "Let's get the ball rolling and aim for tomorrow."
Bob confidently reassures her of the product's impending success. "You won't regret this. These cookies will sell like hotcakes." And finally, the conversation concludes with Carol expressing a slight bit of vulnerability about the risk she's taking. "I hope so. I've gone out on a limb by ordering so many." Okay, let's dive into this. We just heard a rapid-fire exchange packed with absolutely incredible native-level business English. I mean, crunch the numbers, sweeten the deal, twist my arm. Now, you could try to memorize these phrases by, reading them out of a textbook 100 times. But let's be real, your brain is practically designed to forget boring lists. So how do we permanently lock these phrases into our minds? Well, we are going to take you behind the scenes and decode this language using, literally, one of the most powerful learning techniques ever created. Enter Tony Buzan's memory palace technique. To put it simply, our brains are exceptionally good at remembering physical spaces and highly unusual, shocking, or exaggerated images. What we are terrible at is remembering abstract words. So the absolutely crucial point here is that by pairing a familiar physical location with bizarre, extreme imagery, you completely bypass the need for rote memorization. It's like a cheat code for your brain. We're going to build a negotiation office memory palace right now, step by step. I want you to visualize walking into Carol's office with me, and we are going to use some pretty wild images to anchor every single phrase we just heard.
All right, our journey begins right at the entrance. Imagine you're opening the door to Carol's office, but you can't step inside because the doorway is totally blocked. Picture giant living numbers, like a massive number 2, a huge 5, and an 8, just sitting there on the floor. And looming right over them is this massive, noisy industrial machine with metal teeth, and it is literally grabbing these numbers and crunching them into pieces. Actually, imagine the jarring sound of metal crushing a 6-foot-tall number 8. The sheer absurdity of this image links directly to Carol's opening line. "I've had a chance to crunch some numbers. I guarantee you will never look at an office door the exact same way again."
Now, what's really interesting here is how we physicalize a totally abstract concept. So you step past the doorway and walk up to Carol's desk. To remember Bob's defensive rejection, I want you to imagine a giant, glowing, neon question mark sitting right in the middle of the desk. And it's buzzing loudly. You reach out, grab this bright neon punctuation mark in both hands, and physically snap it in half. Crack. The glass shatters, the light goes out, and you forcefully throw the broken pieces right into the trash can. You've literally removed it from the desk. It is, quite physically, out of the question. Next, we move around the desk over to the office chair to remember how Carol tried to bridge the negotiation gap. But this isn't your normal leather chair. Picture a chair constructed entirely out of giant, crystalline sugar cubes, and it is practically dripping with thick, golden, viscous honey. It looks incredibly uncomfortable. Imagine Carol trying to sit down to negotiate, but as she sinks into the chair, she gets completely stuck in this intensely sweet, sticky mess. It takes serious effort just to move. She is physically caught up trying to sweeten the deal.
Allow your brain to really feel that sticky texture, because that sensory detail is exactly what makes the memory permanent. Right next to the chair is a tall, metal filing cabinet, and this brilliantly illustrates our next idiom, representing Bob's final, reluctant compromise. Sticking straight out of the top drawer of this filing cabinet is a massive, silver robotic arm. But it's malfunctioning. Instead of filing papers, the mechanical arm is violently gripping its own metal elbow and twisting itself around and around into a tight, painful-looking metal pretzel. Imagine the screeching sound of bending metal and gears grinding against each other. It's a bizarre, almost painful image to even think about, which is exactly why you won't forget the phrase, "You've twisted my arm." Let's keep moving. Turn your attention over to the large window on the side of the office. We need to pivot to the logistics of the deal here. Picture a massive, heavy, brightly colored bowling ball balancing precariously on the windowsill. Suddenly, it drops and starts rolling fast along the ledge. It's picking up serious momentum, crashing through stacks of paper, smashing coffee cups, and knocking over plants as it accelerates down the line of the window. The speed and the sheer destructive energy of that heavy ball perfectly capture the energetic push to start a project immediately. Let's get the ball rolling. Following the path of that rolling ball, we look over to the far corner of the room. Now, Bob was incredibly confident about this product, and here's why. In the corner sits a ridiculously high stack of steaming, syrupy pancakes. But the room is in absolute chaos. Dozens of people are sprinting toward the corner, practically tripping over each other, frantically throwing fistfuls of cash into the air just to grab a single hotcake before they completely run out. It is a frenzied, chaotic, high-energy scene of pure consumer demand. That vivid, frantic scramble ensures you'll always remember the confident assurance, these cookies will sell like hotcakes. Okay, let's look up to the ceiling and see how this all builds to our final dramatic image. For Carol's final moment of apprehension about the risk she's taking, I want you to look straight up. Growing right out of the plaster of the office ceiling is a literal, full-size tree branch, and sitting on the very edge of it, looking incredibly nervous and dangling dangerously over the boardroom floor, is Carol. You can actually hear the wood creaking under her weight. It looks like it could snap at literally any second. She has visibly taken a huge risk. She has, quite literally, gone out on a limb. And just like that, the whole shebang, we've walked through the entire negotiation. By anchoring those 7 business phrases, crunching numbers, out of the question, sweetening the deal, twisting an arm, getting the ball rolling, selling like hotcakes, and going out on a limb, to these highly exaggerated, vivid locations in our negotiation office, you've effectively hacked your memory. You didn't just read words today, you experienced them visually and spatially. This technique proves that learning doesn't have to be a grind, right? It can be wildly creative and instantly effective. So I want to leave you with a challenge. The next time you need to master a complex topic or a really tough set of vocabulary, please don't reach for a highlighter. Ask yourself, where will you build your next memory palace?